Okay, when we pulled the steering box apart, we just pulled the shaft out. We didn't actually undo all of the little bolts on the recirculating ball housing here. So we'll just find a... There's a spanner in the wrong drawer, Lance. Okay, 7/16 spanner. There's a little bit of wind noise outside. Yeah, I don't know what we're picking up. I've done a bit of a test record and it sounded pretty good, so hopefully it's not going to wash out and blow out like it can do on us. Worst of working in a big open shed, I suppose. Okay, we have the ball race here, and they're quite snug. Quite snug in there, so that's just the race. And as the balls go round and round and round inside there, it's like a big thread. And then when they come to here, this hole here, they come up and they start the journey again. And that's why they call it recirculating ball. The balls just keep going round and round and round, and away we go from there. So one thing I like to do at this stage, and I suppose it's up to you whether you do it or not, but where this comes out of the main shaft, like you have a main shaft in your steering box, and where this sits in your main shaft, there's two pegs, and we had to undo one to get it out. Now the correct setting for this is, well, when you read the manual they say put an extra shim in one side here and get a little bit of end play, and then put it back until there's none. But I don't do that. I just like to check it at this stage. I'm not going to use the new shaft and nut like I spoke about doing. I decided these parts are certainly serviceable, so why throw them out? So all I'm looking for at this stage is to see how tight this gets in there. So we'll nip him up. We have to have that with no side movement. So if we tighten him up evenly, over the years the holes where the pin go into the side of the nut wears, so we have quite a bit of slop there. And if we have a look here, see this housing here, even though the pin's not, or the lock tabs aren't open, that is loose. So we might just grab a little screwdriver, knock these tabs open, so if we didn't check this now, we'd just put this back and away we'd go, and we'd be none the wiser. So with that movement there, we don't want that, so we'll tighten this up on this side. And we still have some movement. And so we might just drop a shim out of this side and just see what we have, eh? If we need two shims, we'll take one from each side. So we don't want it tight, but we want it firm. Oh well, we don't want any end play yet, we don't want preload. So on this side here we have a couple of shims. Let's just take one out. They appear to be both the same thickness. The shims go between, obviously between the head of the pin and the yoke, for want of a better word. A little bit of movement there still, but we'll just see. The shed's creaking and popping a bit, but anyway, that's... Look, there's just the ever so slightest. Just nip that up once more. That's nearly too tight. And if you have that tight, when you go up and down, you get a tight spot. So it looks like, I don't have any different size shims. I don't even know if you can buy them actually. So we just have to go as tight as we can without having preload on it. And looks like in our case, we have to put our shim back and have a little preload there. And those little holes don't look worn really. I suppose it's a little bit of wear everywhere. From the factory it would have been okay. Okay, so shim back in. Well, the general idea is the message I'm trying to get through is just as tight as it can be without preload, and if you have a little end float, well, I suppose there's not much we can do about it. There's a little there, but anyway, we're going to have to wear it. Make sure it's all tight. Okay, that's as good as we can do in this instance. One shim's too much, just makes it too tight. Alright, now we can pull all that out again. It'll have to be better than it was with tightening up this end plate here. Okay, we'll leave that there just so we don't lose it. Put this aside, and there's very little wear in those bushes. It's that close that I'm not going to replace the bushes. It's that tight, so that's a good thing. Now the kit that I've been using is a quality tractor parts kit, 61615, and for the job we're doing it's just bee's knees. We get the new top nut with the O-ring groove, so we can pop the O-ring on there straight away. We get new recirculating ball races. We get a new chrome top washer. We get a new lock plate, and that sits on the nut and holds the recirculating ball races in. We get two new bolts to hold that in. We get the balls for the recirculating race, new balls in the kit for the That's for the nut here. We get new balls for the top of the steering shaft. We get new ball races for the top of the steering shaft. A new nut and a new lock tab. Lock tab that locks the tension on the nut. So we'll go and get the shaft. And we'll just run through setting that up. So all we're doing here is just holding the shaft in the vise. Now I don't believe there's a top and bottom on this. Doesn't matter which way you turn it, the thread goes the same way. Now I haven't counted the balls here, but I think I read 22, but put them on the bench where they won't roll away, just like that. Okay, so what we do, we just lift the nut up and start dropping balls in. Give it a little wriggle as you go. And just help them through. So they have to go round a couple of times before they come back out. So you'll notice on the top here, see we're just about full there. So we just give it a bit of a wriggle and a push as we go. We can come in from the other side as well. And the wriggling it, we're just making sure we're helping them get up under and be all around it. You'll try and keep them all in position. They will try and sneak out on you, sneaky little buggers. You actually get to a stage where as you push them down here, you'll see them coming up there. That's just a bit of WD-40. I will get heavier oil in it later. I think we're there. As we push one side down, the other side's coming up. So we should roughly have enough balls left just to fill the race. And we'll put a bit of grease, there they're coming out the back here for me. I'll get a little bit of grease in that race. little bit of heavier oil. This looks like a bit of molybdenum grease. Doesn't matter what sort of grease, just to hold the ball bearing in. Right, so once that's full, bring the mating section in. And then we have to work that in to the groove. And all that without denting this at the top there. So what we should be able to do is turn that round and around with no ball bearings coming out anywhere. Be careful when you get to the ends. A little bit of a tight spot there, but we just probably have to the ends of these fellas here, they have to actually sit down, so it's not quite right until that, there we go, we had one ball bearing that was in the wrong, was sitting out a little bit. That's what was getting stuck. Okay, so that means we have to sort that out. Okay, 3, 2. Okay, I had to find that little ball. Now, pop him back in there. And make sure none of these are outside the little loop, which was what was going on there. Actually had another one slid out this end, so there was two that I'd missed. That's good there. Make sure they're right home. I need to go up and down a few times just to make sure we haven't that's good. We pop this little fella on with a couple of bolts. There must be both metric and imperial bolts in these nuts. Or threads in these nuts. We'll see which one ours is. I'll see if it makes any difference anyway. That goes in nicely. This is a metric one. That's slopping around like a cock in a sock. Okay, so it's the yellow ones we're using there. Get this little one started. The holes aren't just 100% lined up here. That's good. Boy, that's close. I'll have to undo this other end and get this one started. There we go. That's a little 10mm. Got the feel of it, yep. Feel a little bit notchy still, but that'll come good, I'm sure, once we get it buttoned up properly. Okay. That's all right. Now look, I'll go and get a couple of cable ties to make sure it doesn't fall out. But what we can do at this stage, we can sit the shaft and the nut in. Now first up we need to pop these lock tabs back over. Alright, so we can put this in. A little bit of lube, but anyway, we'll have oil in this shortly. Now the shaft here can go in. Actually the nut, this has to go to the back near the gear sticks. And then we can pop these fellas in. We still have to do the top of the shaft. Now, we could do the top of the shaft and just slide all this in as one unit. It doesn't really matter, I don't believe. This way at least everything's going to be fixed in place and we can't lose anything.